So if you're using the same value and you know the same condition, it could have worked the other way, it could have been 15%,
Right.
but it worked in her favor. So in that way, I agree with her that there needs to be something else. They need to factor the foreign exchange fluctuation in terms of maybe work if there wasn't a fluctuation, what would have been the revenue.
Mm-hmm.
I would have probably rework the revenue and see from that, because that's outside of her control.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at her performance, she couldn't have had anything to do with that. So I would have reworked the revenue and the 15%, I don't know, from June and see. But the thing about not, I didn't agree with her about the tracing the cost in terms of only cost, because as long as the allocation and overhead is fair, the both divisions would have been allocated based on usage.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be directly traceable to the operation of the
Okay. Alright. Anybody else? Anybody else?
She said it, sir.
Okay.
Because why would you, and when I read it at first, I'm like, why would you want, so if you don't use that to base your performance off, what? And I thought that it's a profit thing. It's a profit, so what are you going to use? So to me, at first, it was just ridiculous that she said that, but then it's P5 exam and it's 7 marks. So I have to go look for something.
So we have to go find something.
So it will go back to the only thing in the whole thing that would speak to anything is what
The bore, right?
the more said about it, because that's the only thing that I'm thinking that is jumping out.
And also the allocated head office costs.
Mm-hmm.
Those are costs that are not in
Her
control.
right.
I think she should be assessed based on cost and revenue that she can.
No, but
Would it be? It's not based on.
But the other division gets set cost
It
too.
It
And
is
gets overhead cost too.
Yeah. So it's not based on what's
Because
on
she gets
control.
paid. It's a cost that is incurred by the organization.
Other revenue. I think when you to write the answer,
Mm-hmm.
you would for how I would write the answer is to say that that there are some things that are, what should I say? There are some things that are in the control, some things that are not. So as we said, she, as long as it's not even proportionate, she gets less. So obviously something was taken into consideration, like she gets less overhead, all of those costs than the other division.
And the other division.
Yeah.
What's the difference between an investment center and a profit center?
I'm sure one of these bright minds can tell you. Give me a second, I'm just looking for a reason.
No, not last next Sunday, last Wednesday.
What are you looking?
Did the performance appraisal?
No.
The
83 is
Efficiency, economy,
yeah,
and
one person.
talk about total quality.
Yeah, TQ.
target cost.
One of them just in time. The other one. Report.
Yeah, quality.
So everybody tell you about what?
No.
Tell you what?
Sorry, I haven't written down what is an investment. Remind me of what is an investment center. I mean, I have, no.
Nobody?
It happened.
Investment center means you take decisions on capital. Profit center you don't. So profit center is not a accountable for, well, the manager of the profit center is not accountable for depreciation because they did not take the decision on the
So,
investment.
sir, so that 9,400 the answer. So if you don't know that, that's a 3 marks now, right?
It's very important to answer. And if you notice, it said the investment center people then decide that they are not.
90%.
Yeah.
So investment.
And it says in the case that head office said them buy the equipment for the export. So if you notice, his head office took the decision, not the manager. So depreciation cannot be included.
Profit center, also profit center does not. Investment center takes decision on capital.
Right.
Profit center is.
That's the only difference between both of them because they're still going to be judged on profits and them kind of thing there. Right? But the profit center does not take decisions on investments. Alright. So essentially you guys, you have given me a bit of the case, but what I wanted was to look at the requirements itself. But it seemed like you are kind of all there. Now look at what it says. Evaluate the comments of the export manager that the net profit margin used to appraise your own performance should be different from that used to appraise the performance of the export division itself. So look at the very first thing. Anytime we get a question like that, no matter what measure is, we just make a note of the measure. And we're going to say, we're reading the case to look to see, does the measure contain non-controllable items? And when we say non-controllable here, we mean it only for the manager. And that is part of the reason why you cannot use the manager and the division at the same time. Right? The manager, anything that is outside the manager control ought to be removed when assessing the manager. When you're assessing the division now, the examiner said it in there. Use traceable cost, traceable revenue, blah, 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 blah. So use traceable profit, not net profit. Traceable means that it can be directly linked to the division's operations. Which means that we don't quite say the same thing. So we don't say if it's outside of the control of the division. We don't say if the thing is not linked to the division, don't include it. So here's what, we take out depreciation for the manager, but we include it for the division because it is directly traceable to the division's operations. Right? So we're looking at the asset. The asset was purchased and it's that decision was outside the manager's control. So the depreciation should be deducted.
Right.
We're not removing it for the division because that same asset was used by the division. Right, yeah. Alright? So that's the difference.
Okay.
And that's why we never generally say don't use divisional performance to judge the manager. Because the division may have traceable stuff in there, but these are non-controllable stuff. Alright? So as long as we see them ask us questions like that, whether it be, should you use this measure? When they leave no mention division at all, them say, should you use this measure to judge the branch manager's performance? The minute them ask us that, what they're looking for is, look in the items, are there any non-controllable elements in there? When I'm bringing division now, all we're looking for are, is it only traceable stuff that is in there? Alright? So hence the reason why he mentioned the term traceable in the story. Alright? So that will be the main things that's going to guide us. So we're going to look at the data that is presented, and we're going to look for non-controllable, blah, 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 blah. And we're going to look for traceable versus non-traceable. All right? Now look at part B. Part B says, recommend using appropriate calculations whether the manager of export division should receive her bonus for the year. So it means therefore it's related to what we mentioned up at A, but we're not showing the calculation for it up at A. Alright? They have not asked us for traceable down at B, so we can show the calculation for traceable up at A. But don't do any calculation up at A that's going to say, oh, you need to remove this, you need to remove this, you need to add this back, blah, 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 blah. That is for part B to demonstrate whether or not the export division's manager qualified for the bonus. And if you notice in there, they gave us the target. It's 8%. Alright? So your net profit, I think, net profit margin, right, should be 8%. So when we do our non-controllable stuff, we're going to look to see if we get 8%. It must be at least 8%. Can be more. If it is more, we prefer that. Because in case anybody want to argue with we, and we take off anything, we can still land back at 8. If it is below 8, it means she never qualified anyway. Alright? If it's up 8 or above, it means she would have qualified if we had done these adjustments. So again, one of the things that's why I ask students, don't say read part A of a question and start writing. You have got to read all the questions. Because you may end up going into too much detail of a part A, and then when you reach a part B, you say, and then you draw an arrow and say, oh, this is supposed to down here, so and this is supposed to up here, so. Alright? And that is not neat, and the exam, the marker not going to mark it. Alright? So any marks that you have gotten at B now, you don't get. Alright? So I look at that, so I do a little calculation. So we're going to do calculation that remove as best as possible the non-controllable items. Alright? And we're going to take a look at that and see how we do that. And then part C says, advise whether the use of economic value added EVA is an appropriate measure of performance of the two divisions. You are not required to perform an EVA calculation. Everybody see that part, right?
Yeah.
Anybody try to calculate EVA?
No.
Okay, right. Because you are not, and I think in the case it also mentioned that he doesn't want to do a calculation. Because having said all of that, there are students who went into the exam and actually did try to calculate EVA. What's that? And if you notice, he does give you some EVA stuff in there. Right? So persons, yeah, will see that as automatically try to some of them, but that's not what we're to use them for. We're to use them to demonstrate EVA stuff. Alright, so we're not doing any calculation, but we use them to demonstrate EVA stuff. So look at part C, so no EVA calculation. That's one. Two, he has asked us whether EVA is appropriate. For this, we need to start thinking of some of the advantages or benefits of EVA. Alright? However, in thinking of whether something is appropriate or not, it could mean that we're to look at some of the drawbacks or weaknesses as well. so one of the things, so when you look at say the advantages and benefits, you can bring that on. What can also guide you in a question like this, particularly since you know that they're using another measure, you can just briefly, as I said, it could mention you could end up bringing it up here, but you could briefly discuss the weakness of the current measure. And when you see that weakness now, then you link it up to the advantages. So for example, you're mentioning now, here's one of the things. EVA we know for sure is more aligned with maximization of shareholders' wealth, and that's one of the objectives. We can also make the point that net profit margin, on the other hand, is poorly correlated to shareholders' wealth. Right? Net profit margin does not cover the cost of capital, which EVA does. Alright? Net profit margin does not even cover capital itself. Alright? Look at what net profit margin looks at, guys. Revenue minus your various expenses, costs, etc., etc. Nowhere does it show a relationship between that and your capital. ROCE does that. Net profit margin doesn't. So immediately when we're thinking of the advantages and the benefits, link them to this part, the weaknesses of the current measure. Alright? So we don't want, the reason why I'm saying that I don't want to see you guys writing a list of all of these wonderful things of EVA. If you're going to tell somebody, imagine if you're talking to your boss, and the CEO, a big man, or a big woman, right? Right? And she's been using this net profit margin all along. And you come up to her and you say, you shouldn't be using net profit margin, you should be using EVA. And she said, why? And you erase off everything that you remember in the book. And she said, what does that have to do with me? She will, I can tell you, she will not switch from APM to EVA. If all that you do is write what is in the book. Yeah, you've got to tell her, listen, you're using net profit margin now. But you know, say your objective is to maximize shareholders' wealth, and in no way is it related to shareholder wealth maximization. And she said, oh, talk to me some more now. You know, say it doesn't even cover the cost of capital. Nowhere does it measure the cost of capital. What else? As a matter of fact, it don't even account for capital. Then she will consider it. She will absolutely not consider it if all you give her is a set of stock we remember from BPB. Alright? And so, in a way, ACC have a paper now, Strategic Business Leader. The expectation in APM as a strategic management accountant is for you to be able to get into that strategic business leader mind and tell them what they need to hear to convince them to change. It is not about swatting the book. It's about picking out the right things to tell the manager to change the manager's mind if something is going on. Alright? Which means your answer have to be targeted. The book guides you, because the answers, this stuff that I just mentioned, and you have mentioned as well, is in the book. But you need to pick out the right ones that is pertinent to that context. And then you need to make the point. So this, even though I wrote this there, I don't want a list of advantages and benefits. Right? And to make it that much more powerful, link it to this weakness of the correct measure. Alright? When we talk about drawbacks now and weaknesses, we know that one of the problem with EVA, well, two problems. What if adjustments? No, sir. Where not everybody are going to understand them. Right? After the whole heap of adjustments. That's one. The other is look at even the WAC, the cost of capital. I want difficult thing to calculate too. And it involves some estimate too. Which might be wrong. We kind of way the examiner set it up for us and kind of make it easy. So sometimes you may think that it's easy to calculate the WAC. Because we show you one formula and so forth and so forth. But actually what goes behind the scene to get many of those things are a lot more difficult than that. For example, the cost of equity. What's the cost of equity really? How do we calculate that?
It takes a long time to get a different portfolio.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Alright? So don't get fooled by him giving us the details for what. Remember, behind it is a whole heap of assumptions and methods and which is the acceptable method and blah blah blah. And them have one name APM and I remember all of the other one them and then kind of thing like not a P4 person. Right? But there are a bunch of stuff and a bunch of assumptions that you make. When you get it in P5, we just kind of move them assumptions out of the way. But don't forget that what is difficult to calculate. Alright? So problem there. Here's another problem. Since it's two divisions, EVA is an absolute number. So it's not that we can truly say one division is doing better than the other by calculating an EVA. The only thing we can say is whether or not each division is creating value for the shareholder. We can't say anything more than that. So if you get a bigger one for, the next one, the name, not export division, whatever the next division, domestic, right? We can't say domestic are do better than export, or we can't say export are do better than domestic because absolute numbers cannot be compared. Percentages can. Right, but absolute numbers cannot. Alright? One man have $1,000, one man have $100. Absolute numbers. You don't know the context. Right? You don't know if that $100 there enough money to the man there who have the 100. Suppose the man only earn $100 and yet him still have a savings of $100. Mm-hmm. Versus the man who have $1,000. Suppose fee pay was $10,000. Mm-hmm. So we can really look at it and say, this one is better off because he have $1,000. So if I manage fee money better, we can absolutely cannot say that. Alright? So that now should now start put into your heads that it's, I'm sure you start to the answer, right? You start see what you are writing. Oh, these are the things that I need to write. These are the things. And guess what I'm gonna do now with this? Since you give me some of the stuff, because you talk about some of the benefits that EVA brings. I also know how to do some adjustments in EVA, and as much as he doesn't want me to do anything, there are things in there that I can use to demonstrate. So for example, in the question it mentioned, just now as one of the notes, is it number 2? Other overheads for domestic division include the creation of bad debt provision, Why would I zoom into that? Because that is one of the calculations that I do in EVA when I'm adding back to NOPAT, not so, to NOPAT, net operating profit after tax. Alright? Equivalent of 75,000 for a wholesale customer who had financial difficulties during the year, and 90,000 Kaylan dollars for advertising of a new range of paints launched at the end of the year. Those two items are added back. One, it says non-cash items such as bad debt provisions must be added back to NOPAT. Alright? Because this could be just an accounting policy by a very conservative CFO. Alright? So why write down your net operating profit? Add it back to your net operating, to bring up back your net operating profit. The advertising, we said on the EVA, you need to look to see if the advertising has to do with any long-term building of the brand. If the advertising has to do with long-term brand building, then it needs to be added back to NOPAT. Increasing your NOPAT. Encouraging managers, therefore, to think about the long term rather than the short term. Alright? So that's...
I don't hear that, sir. How you're saying that those two items need to add back to the profit after tax.
Right.
So, if you're using eBay, so that's the point.
So that's the whole point of it. If you're using EVA, you're going to add back those. Because what EVA is trying to do is to, as much as possible, change that profit into economic cash flows.
So long-term profit.
Right.
Instead of short term.
And so what they want to do is get rid of any accounting variations.
Okay.
Right? So stuff like depreciation, it adds back accounting depreciation. Because accounting depreciation is dependent on how the CFO decides to treat it. So we want to remove that, and then instead of accounting depreciation, they use economic depreciation. What's the actual value of the asset now? Alright? And then you look at against the economic price that you would have paid for it, and then that would be the difference to say that's the economic depreciation. Non-cash items, depreciation, provisions, those kind of things. Don't trust them, because according to Stern Stewart, the guys who came up with the EBA, any non-cash items could just be overprudent managers. If the things were really of value, you would have spent cash on them, right? And since economic cash flow is about cash, anything that is accrual based, and accounting is heavily accrual based, add it back. Alright? And what that should do is that because it an increase in NOPAT, it should encourage the managers to do the investment like in advertising, and by extension, therefore, benefit the shareholder, because if it's long-term brand building, it must be to the benefit of the shareholder. Alright? So hence, that's why Stern Stewart come up with these things. Many of these items that managers take out in regular accounting, we don't think they should be taken out, we think that they should be at work. Now, of course, we do know that EVA does not follow generally accepted accounting principles because of those things. Alright? Doesn't mean that we can use it to see if you're adding shareholder. Alright? So those are the things. So those are the code, the rules according to Stern Stewart that we learn. We need to add back these things. And when you're seeing, even when they don't ask you to do anything, it means as long as he has given you it, he may expect you to put it in the discussion. Alright? Alright, so let's take a look now back at the case. So everybody has read the case, so I'm not going to go back through it. Let's go back to question A. So let's look at this and in particular we're looking at it for export division. So let's look at this net profit margin. Alright? And we know that we're going to look for it in the sense of, so we're not, even though we're not recalculating in A, you probably would have done a recalculation already anyway, so you know the items to take home. And so you can make reference to them. You can say, the reason why the reason we don't normally recommend that the same measure that's used to assess a division is used to assess the manager is because the division may very well have items that are related to their operations, that's traceable, but however, the decision to acquire those items may have been outside of the manager's control. Alright? That's how we're right. That's how we start with something like that. Because you have to tell us first, and you can't just automatically and say, oh, this should not be in there, this should not be in there. You need to tell me why we say you cannot use one measure for both appraisals. Alright? It's not controllable. Right. So having said that, here's what I'd add to it. Since I know that export division is a profit center, as a profit center, the manager of export division is not responsible for investments decisions. So that manager should not be accountable for those items, such as depreciation, I mentioned. Alright? What's that? As a profit center, the manager is not responsible for decisions on capital investments, and as such should not be accountable. So use two words in there. They are not responsible, and so they should not be held accountable. Alright, because the two words go together. Anybody who's responsible must be asked to answer, and that's what accountability is, answer. You can't ask the manager to answer here, the manager did not take the decision. And as a profit center, they can't take that decision. Alright? Investment center can take that decision. Alright? So you do another thing there. You tell the examiner that you know the difference between profit center and investment center, and two, you use that knowledge to make a point. Alright? Because we could always have said, by the way, you could have also written it and simply say they did not take the decision to invest in the equipment, and so the export manager should not be held accountable. And that's right. But here's what you miss. Here's a point that you miss. You never tell us it's a profit center, so almost by law, it's not by law. But yeah, they can't make the investment anyway. Alright? So writing it like that now, instead of giving you 1 mark, now you get oh, so that's a 5. No, not little too ambitious for 5, but 2. So not 5, 2. Alright, what else? There are other things in there that is not under the manager's control, such as allocation of head office costs. Right, so she shouldn't have a hook of that one there.
Head office costs?
Yeah, allocation of head office costs. Manager did not make the decision. Manager should not be held accountable.
Well, that's not in her control.
But it's not in their control. Similarly, the revenue too, you know. All of the revenue is not necessarily hers. Why?
That can be.
Yeah.
Because that is not her, because that is depreciated,
so right. So she's not she's not responsible for the depreciation. So we have to cut it out for her. Alright. So while it is okay for the division, because at the division, it is not okay for her. You see the difference?
Yeah, but
Right.
separate and apart from this question, so when you get down into performance measurement for, remuneration.
Right.
Why would you have a remuneration thing that is based on the manager and not on the division? Like, yeah.
Because in a fear,
Because guess what?
You're praising somebody, you can't go up and
Right,
down.
because the division may be doing well and it has nothing to do with the manager's effort.
Oh,
It's just a situation. You have seen managers who have been put in positions where everything is rosy. Why am I paying you all that money and you never did anything? I could have put a monkey in there and the monkey would have still come and say, eh? While we have managers who actually work and turn around the division. So we need to separate the two. Now, it doesn't mean that it's easy, and it doesn't mean that we're going to be successful in separating everything. But we ought to try to see which manager is really managing and which manager is not managing. Some managers are just lucky. You just happen to be in the position. And it works for them. Right? Apple is in a wonderful position. Tim Cook get the position. Tim Cook is an accountant, a chartered accountant. Right? Them say black vision.
Okay. But people are running my vision.
People are running my vision. So maybe they would have to really be so hard on Tim Cook. But and there are a lot of persons say the fact that Apple is doing well, it has nothing to do with Tim Cook. Anybody that did it?
I wouldn't agree there. If you're
Right.
smart enough to have the right people, the right people, you deserve the reward.
Right? So it's always a challenge trying to separate the company's or the division's performance from the manager's performance. Yeah. So that's why we do it. Alright? Alright, so we're going to look at that in a little while too. And I think Deborah had mentioned something about the revenue too. He had mentioned, I think he had said something about the appreciation. And if you notice, guys, with the date of the foreign exchange change in the middle of the year, half of it, so I try to make it easy for you to work out. And I said, half of that sale was because of the appreciation, right?
so for her, you back out head office costs and depreciation.
Right, yeah. So we're going to back out head office costs. We're going to back out depreciation. We're say back out, we're going to add them back. Right, yeah. So add them back.
Yes.
Right. And then now we have to deduct the currency gains. So we're going to calculate that and then deduct it. And then we get what we call the controllable net profit. And then we put it over the controllable revenue. And we get the thing for it. Alright? But in terms of this, the first part, we look at the traceable. Alright? When we look at the traceable profit, take a look at something here. And we can start from the net profit margin, the net profit. So pick up the net profit, 545, everybody say that? Huh? Yeah, in a way, because we can I'm doing the traceable part, because that's one straightforward thing to calculate. Alright? So let's pick up the 545. Because remember, this traceable now is for the division. Alright? So it's only the non-traceable stuff then where either add back or subtract or whatever it is. And it's only one thing in there that is non-traceable. What is that? The head office cost, yeah.
The head office.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with the operations of the division. Alright? So it's not that it's non-controllable, it's because it has nothing to do with the operations of the division. Alright? Its head office trying to split its overheads and trying to allocate it fairly to everybody. Whatever the story head office wants to say, it has nothing to do with the operations of the division. Alright? So would I add back that 360 to the 545? So now the traceable net profit would be what? 905, and we'll put it over what revenue now? 8,000? Yeah.
Yes.
For the division? Yes.
Yes.
You're
Oh,
thinking
for the division.
for the division, right? So not for the manager. For the division,
Okay.
we're not taking out the foreign currency gain because it relates to the division.
Okay.
Alright? So what is that? 11 point, yeah, 11 point something. Right? Which seems to suggest, but that's not what we're using, since we say we're not using that to judge the manager's performance, so we can't really give that as the reason for her to get her bonus. So we're going to go to B to work out exactly whether or not she qualifies for a bonus.
Oh, my name is me.
Because remember, so the traceable profit is not really part B, and the traceable is part A, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Alright? So it belongs to the part that says, why can't I use one measure to judge the manager and the division? Alright? And we're going to say that's because even though the division may have traceable items, many of those traceable items may still be non-controllable to the manager. That's why we can't use the same measure. Alright? And of course, we have said that we're not going to judge any manager on items outside of their control. Alright? Alright, so let's look at the first thing. We know that we need to adjust the revenue. So, which means that we need to find how much was that 15% currency benefit. What was the size of that benefit? Alright, that's what the revenue. Let's call this working one. So we're trying to get controllable revenue. So say the original revenue here, 8,000, right? The foreign currency change went weakened by 15% on the 30th of June 2016. That's 6 months. So it's like this 8,000 is being split into two. Right. Alright? Which means that half of it was before the FX change. So that's equal to 4,000.
Right.
And the other 4,000 is after the FX change. Alright? Is equal to the other 4,000. So we're not showing the 4,000 here, which was before. Leave it alone. What I want to do is change this to what it is without the FX gains. Alright?
Gain or loss? No loss?
Is that gain? So you push up the money by, because one currency weekend, look at what it says. Yeah.
It was a loss, sir.
So look at what it says. Alright, which currency, where them operating?
Okay.
They're operating in Kaylan and Sealand, but they're based in Kaylan. Right? Right, so they get more money. Right, yeah. Alright? So it says the Kaylan dollar weakened by 15% against the Sealand dollar. Alright? So it means that if I have a Sealand dollar, the Sealand dollar give me more Kaylan dollars. Or I take more Kaylan dollar to buy one Sealand dollar. Alright? And since the money is all in Kaylan terms, it means that this needs to be, that means that the foreign exchange allow them to gain some money where they never did have. Alright? So it means that this is, because, so the amount before or without the FX gain is going to be this $4,000 divided by 1.15. Everybody say why? Because this has the 15% in there. It's just like when I calculate GCT and instead of figure you have GCT in there already. How do I find out the original figure before the GCT? I divide it by. Alright? So that now will give me what? 3,000 something?
3,478.
3,478. The difference, so the FX gain, then that will be the difference between the 4,000 and the 3,478. It should be, what's what, 522?
Yeah.
So our money gone up by 522. I will take back out the 522. If we give her something, as we are saying, this never under you, we take back what's never under our control either. Right? So we give it, so we take it. Alright? Alright, everybody okay so far? Which means if we were to look at it then, we'll probably say her controllable revenue, by the way, is going to be 4,000 plus this, 7,478. Now remember, why we want to do the controllable revenue, we are doing the margins. Alright? So we want back the new net profit margin, which means that it must be controllable profit over controllable sales. Alright? And not the way they do it now, which is non-controllable profit over non-controllable sales. Alright? Alright, so that's our revenue. Let's see if we can then find the other things then. Alright? So let's do her controllable profit. Alright? And again, we can start back from the net profit margin and then add back the stuff then that we're to add back. Alright? So her reported net profit is the 545. So let's pick up at that number. And then we'll add back all the things that we're going to add back anyway. Alright? So we're going to add back depreciation. And again, that is because we don't believe that that is controllable by her. This was 395. Yeah, 395. And then we're going to add back allocated office costs. So I think it's 360. Alright. But here's a thing now. You see this? What I must do with that? We take it out of the revenue.
That's
have to less it from there. So, because remember, this profit figure would have included it here. Alright? So we're going to less FX gain of the 522. Alright? And then now we should get our controllable profit. Alright? Which should be 7. Is that 7? Yeah. See that 8. And then we subtract 778. Alright. What's that? Yeah. Alright. So we put back the things that we said. These were not under her control and they were deducted, so we're adding them back. That would I find it?
Yeah, right. This.
Oh, doing back over everything? No. So fast, I'm not about to do it.
That's what it was like. So that's what I did.
Right? So now we have the two controllable items. So now we can get controllable profit margin, which is what, 778 over 7478. Which gives us what? What? 10. What was the target again? So that look like, you get it? But here's one problem with what we just did. So I'll come back to my
Sorry, what did I say? She 46 on theater and go I've seen this play out so many times in my life.
Listen, she buy an equipment, not she, head office buy an equipment for her, didn't they?
Yes, that's
And it said it improved efficiency. And we just take out the depreciation for say,
it's not
and at her decision, then why is she benefiting from the efficiency of the machine?
So that is why
Because guess what? The machine helps in some of the figures that we are saying on.
the revenue.
Yeah. But here's our problem. How do we calculate that? We can't, can we? We have to do some very deep digging and carrying some specialists and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So you still must write it in your answer saying some of the money, the 778, yeah. Part of it is probably because of the equipment where we said it wasn't her. So it probably needs to come out. It's just that we can't determine what that.
Maybe they have given us like
Yeah.
machine improved
She
efficiency
buy, yeah, right.
10%. We could say we could back it back.
So we could probably back out 10% out of this or something like so. So what you have got to say to write that? So write said that ought to come out but we don't have the information. But what it would mean then for her not to get this, you can go further if you want, to say that if she not get this, how much revenue would have to decline by for her not to qualify, and therefore it seems unlikely that even with the machine stuff, that she never do some work to qualify. Alright? Because if we drop this by even say, what is this now? Kind of now 10, and if you get 8 or whatever, so the figure would have to be below the 8%. You could have worked out to say how much it have to drop by. But you don't have to work it out. You can just write a comment around it to say that this would have to drop by some amount of money to say she not qualified. So if we were to try and take out that equipment boost, maybe it's not enough to make you drop below the Alright? Because we ought to take out the equipment boost, that's right. But we don't have nothing to calculate it. So even when you not give us stuff to calculate, we have to make a comment on it. Alright? So that's why Margaret said, come back to your thing now where we say, how do we truly separate the division from the manager? Alright? And the one you know we can truly separate. So in our mind we know so if we take out some money out there what we don't know how much. Alright? So in other words, alright, we say alright, make sure go on. When she get tired, she get tired. I know Margaret don't think she want to pay her bonus. Margaret don't think she not pay bonus and pay bonus. Eh? So she don't want to give the woman her bonus. Right? So she will say, all of that gain there and the equipment and that, take out the equipment, you're not qualified. And we're not really. Alright? We figure she must do so.
She needs to work for my company. On January 1, all the rules change. Every January we get a new incentive.
Say so that never work to make sure she only get nothing.
Of course. Isn't that the aim?
And if we make it last year, then they'll say, alright, let's choose it again. Let's make it
And
again.
it's not even, it's like we went from a system where you just show up and you get it. I
Okay.
mean, it's automatic.
Right.
To one now in which you don't even know how you
Oh, you can.
and then there's a lot of I understand it, there's a lot of calculation that nobody can figure out. And they
They're not
just
sharing it.
then just no, it's there, no, they share the calculation. Oh, there's no what after to 0.5 of 1% of 2% of profit margin of LOC of you know. So when they kick out some out, it just changes. So
Right. Which, you know, as I mentioned that though, and I'm not sure if you had it as part of your thought in terms of whether right written for C, but it does show sometimes where your experience come in. But that's one of the things we said for the EVA, on part C. That's one of the things we mentioned as a weakness. The amount of adjustments that you have to make. What did the export manager say in the case about our bonus?
Has difficulty in understanding the bonus.
She had difficulty in understanding the bonus.
oh, okay.
So you think she'll understand EVA?
Exactly.
So that's your point. That's the point. And it's something that you have experienced before. So that's how you link stuff. So we don't just come up with book stuff. As much as we are being guided by book stuff, we link it to the case. EVA drawback is that it have work adjustment. To work hard to calculate. And here it is, we have the export manager who can't even understand net profit margin right now. So how shall I understand EVA? You must add back this because it has to do with long-term brand building, and you must add back provision. What's wrong with it? Why must add back provision? Why must make provision for bad debts? Because that will happen anyway, right? And particularly now with wait again now, IFRS 9, yeah. Right? Why you tell me if you add it back, Mr. Stern Stewart? So if you can't understand net profit margin, imagine the torment we shall have when you tell her about EVA. Yeah. Link the knowledge to the case. Your answers are so much more different. Alright? And that essentially is it, you know. That's our question one right there, so. So look out for when you ask about responsibility center stuff, It mentions here profit center, investment center, or cost center. Now remember, cost center is not judged on revenue at all. So while investment and profit center are close, difference being the acquisition of assets, right? But they still have to do profit on them kind of thing. Their cost center have no revenue. So they cannot be judged on, for example, like net profit margin. Because they have no revenue, so you have to judge them for net profit margin. You have to be judging them on stuff related to cost, like cost control, right, cost reduction, those kind of things. So you could use KZ costing, or you could have started with target costing and then change it to KZ costing and move along in that regard. Right? And there's one, but the examiner, I don't think the examiner, but I know it was there from the F5 days. There's also one called revenue center. And it's only revenue they are judged on. Alright, so they're not judged on cost of sales and that kind of thing, they're just revenue.
What will generate the revenue?
So mostly it's probably because the division is just a selling division. Okay. And there's another division within the group that does the production of the goods and so forth. Oh. So their job is just to sell it. Alright? And so you probably have a cost center now, make the product, and then a revenue one that they're supposed to sell. Alright? But yeah, I really like the idea that you just leave set targets as kind of can you still and what is forcing you to watch your cost? Are you saying that they must sell at whatever cost? Even though I give you the product? So I like the idea for revenue. So the examiner will not ask you on revenue center because we don't believe in the concept anyway. Right? That you must just only focus on revenue. Right? But I was adding that as information purpose. But it's the three that he will ask you about are investment, profit, and cost. Alright? So know the difference between those three, and therefore what measure becomes appropriate. Alright? Alright, questions? It means when we break down our questions like this, it sort of helps to structure how we answer the question. No, this is a preparatory writing, something there. Alright? If you put the little bullet thing beside it or whatever, that could be okay. But I'm still looking for full sentences and that kind of thing. Alright? Alright, any questions? Alright, read question 2, giving you a time to read it. I don't want to read it and slant it anyway with my voice, so giving you an opportunity to read it first and see it first. Alright, so read question 2, that's the one about, wait there again. Chicory, right. Chicory is from September 2017, by the way. And the one that we just did, Jensen, Lewis, and Webb, is from June 2017.
So in practice, the number one question, sir?
Come on, rather than. Identified in the benchmarking exercise and evaluate their use as a performance measure in this situation. See the two there? ROCE and EBITDA. Should say something immediately when you look at these two. One is a percentage, one is a raw number. ROC is a percentage, it allows for comparison. EBITDA does not allow for comparisons because it's a raw number. So anything else when I hit you, that point must hit you for you read it. Right? Notice he has given me one as a percentage and one as a raw number. It's an absolute number. But one of them is a proxy for cash flow. Which one that? One of them is a proxy for cash flow. Right. They bit that. Yeah. Note where we take out everything. It's earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So it's about the cash that is generated in the business. Yeah. Right. So you start pick up some stuff there. And if you read the case as well, why that will probably hit you. They don't mention one of them have cash flow problems.
Yes, and economic downturn.
Right.
And operating in different countries, so therefore the other country might be doing better than the one that she currently is doing.
Right. And if, even as we went to there now and talk about, for example, the different countries, here's another thing that's related to the cases why EBITDA might not be so bad. Right? They have different tax arrangements in the two countries. Right? So EBITDA removes that out of it and says, just deal with what you earn. Yeah. Right? Let's take out the tax out there, let's take out the interest out there, let's take out how you treat depreciation out there. It mentioned write-off, so on this thing, we'll take out the write-off out there as well. And just look at it and see how the two. The only difference is that it still does change the fact that absolute numbers are absolute numbers, and it's very hard to compare absolute numbers. Yes. All right. So it's those nice things you need to write and say, oh, that can do that wonderful thing, but it have them drawbacks here. ROC have them wonderful thing here, but it have them drawback here. All right. But the expectation is that for part A, for certain, what we're going to do is calculate the ROCE for both, and we're going to calculate the EBITDA for both. All right? And then we're going to make comments. I'm going to do them one at a time. Do EBITDA first, and then do ROCE first, and then do EBITDA. All right? And then part B now, we kind of did start on it. Jody had mentioned some stuff out there, but look at part B now. Advise Chicory on the problems of using the benchmarking exercise with Fennel as a way to improve performance. All right? Right. So that part was added on. What do you think? Can benchmarking against Fennel help Chicory to improve performance? Can they truly learn anything from benchmarking with Fennel? Alright? So that's what your discussion should highlight. We know benchmarking have some nice things around it, but we know it has some serious flaws with it. Alright? We now need to see if any of those nice things and any of those flaws are related to this case. Alright? And bring them. And there's a lot of flaws in this one, by the way. The case mentioned a whole bunch of them. Alright? So you use those. But I would start my answer by mentioning, yeah, benchmarking is a nice thing, because you can learn, blah, 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 blah. But in the case of this now, I'm not sure if you can really learn anything, and you go on and on, right? Alright? Alright. So let's do part A first. The calculation of ROCE and EBITDA. Alright? And the case mentioned how then calculate capital employed. Chicory uses return on average capital employed. So it means that we need to average the capital employed. And if you notice in Appendix 1 on page 4, we get end of the year and beginning of the year. Alright? Which means that we're to average it. And what's the beginning of the year capital employed? So total assets there minus current liabilities. What is it at? That should be about 78. And then the end of the year is 149. minus 81. So that's about 59. And our average those, what you get? $68.5. Everybody have that? And then what we need now for the ROCE? The operating profit. The capital employed. Right. Remember, we need two things. We need the PBIT, the operating profit, plus the capital employed.
Oh, you do that.
Right, yeah.
What did you carry first?
I already check it first. 68.5. 59 for the first one and 78 for the, so 78 for the beginning of the year and 69.
So I never just add the two assets and divided by 2.
Because capital employed is what?
So
Total assets minus current liability. Right. Right. Yeah. So that's why he gave us the two of them. So if you notice for them, we got total assets, current liability, total assets, current liability. Alright? So for chicory, what we get for chicory? We put 9.3 over the 68.5.
Oh, you get the 14 on top.
Mhm. ROCE for chicory, which is what?
how much do you get for the ROCE?
13.6. Now let me see what you're going to get for fennel. Now look at what they gave us some notes on fennel now. 6 million of new capital was introduced into fennel on the 31st of March 2015. Normally new investments is spread evenly over the year. Let me tell you that fine in the middle of the summer come and night people have fun now. Let me tell you that for I would just always ignore that and just do it the same way we do for chicory anyway and just average it out the same way. How much of the year would have gone already when I introduce it? 3 months. That's a quarter of the year. So a quarter of the year was the old capital, the beginning capital, and 3/4 of the year was the ending capital. So he wanted you to use a weighted average, 25% of the first one.
Of the 6 million.
No man, not of the 6 million. Simple thing to do is just calculate the opening capital employed. What's the opening capital employed for fennel? 170. We're going to multiply that by 25%. Alright? Because that's a quarter. And then, what are we going to do? What's the closing capital employed? 176? And multiply that by 75%. That gives you 100. 25 plus 75 gives you 100.
So all the capital employed for, what is the ROCE for chicory?
13.6. Yeah. Now, if it does average it straight, yes, the percentage is going to be slightly off, and then I'm not sure how much marks he would I give. But the expectation is that he expected you to use the weighted average.
So how much you got for the capitalized
Where is it again? 174.
for
174. So that's 170 times 0.25 plus 176 times 0.75. Alright. So let's go back again. Alright. So note how we did for chicory. Alright. We just average the two of them. End of story. Alright. We're not gonna do anything fancy. We could have do the same thing for fennel. So fennel is 170, produce that way there, plus 176.
Yeah.
So this is the start, and this is the ending. I'm already for chicory, so if I add this up to 714, 3, something, right? Divided by 2 to get the average, the normal way would be what, 173?
Yeah.
Right. So it will be slightly off. It's really 174, so that's the answer. But you're not close to it. But you must say, based on the principle you're wrong. Why is it based on the principle you're wrong? Because, look at what he mentioned here. So the $6 million of new capital was introduced into federal on the 31st of March. So not at the start of the year or not month by month. And if it was month by month, that's why I was saying then you could have just do straight average. Alright? 3 months had passed when the new capital came in. So 3 months, the capital employed was 170. For 9 months, the capital employed is 176. Because we have uneven distribution, we can't really just simply average it like this. Alright? So because of that, what we wanted to do is just do a weighted average. To say that this was only there for 3 months, but this was there for 9 months. How do we do that? Take the 70 and multiply it by 0.25. How do I get 0.25? 3 over 12 is a quarter. Alright? So that will give me that, plus, since it's weighted average we're doing, it's not that we're going to multiply again, we're going to do that one here, multiply it, and then multiply the other part and add it. Alright? So then it becomes 176 times the difference between this and the 175. And that's averaging, you're averaging, but what you're doing is weighting the average. So it's known as the weighted average. Alright? And that's where we get now the 174. So it's slightly different from this. But technically your answer will still be very close. But once you see you put 173 down there, I'm going to know say you never use the weighted average. If you never put it there and just put a number, you probably don't know. That's why sometimes showing my work is good, sometimes showing my work is bad. Alright? Alright, so that should give us our 174, and what was the operating profit? 26. So we'll put the 26 over the 174, and we should get the ROCE for fennel. Alright? class that I had, what a student had done, I'm trying to know what they had done. They had just used the 6 and a portion, like, what is it, like 3 months, 9 months into the 6 or something like that. So they average out the 170, which have a 170, and just add the difference of it for the 6. And I think if you take the 3/4 of the 6, it gives it a 4, and I think that's how they did it. Oh, you're right. That's what we ended that argument class. I think that was 4.5. But in that case, I suspect the examiner will more give them the marks there, so because they are a portion of the year, you know, rather than the person who just did it like this. Okay? And when you had mentioned it, Margot, I thought that was what you were going to say you were going to do.
Weighted average.
Doesn't mean for the 6 part.
Oh. So I thought of that, sir. That way, but then I realized it was, what he said it was distributed. Normally, new investment is very key for it.
Right, yeah. Alright. So we're getting on what is fennel? 14? Yeah, 14.9 or 15. Okay, yeah. Well, since you said 13.6 for the other one, use the 14.9. Yeah, so don't bother around it. So what can we say about that on ROC? Now that we know the numbers. Now that we know the numbers, what can we say about that? What was the question again?
Comparing the benchmark and the LOC.
Identify the benchmark and evaluate the use of benchmark measures in this situation. Can we compare?
We're doing A step.
Yeah, so we're doing A, ROC. Can we compare? Remember the one thing we say about ROC is a percentage, and when we say about percentage, we can compare. However, we know ROC have some of other drawbacks. Okay, don't tell us about the absolute figure. So for example, look at the operating profit between the two of them. Federal operating profit is significantly bigger than
Yeah.
but it don't really tell us that. Right? It just tell us yeah, the ROCs are kind of close, it's a percentage off or whatever the thing is. Right? We understand why we could have used ROC because chicory is currently used as ROC, so it's a measure they understand. Right? It don't tell us, for example, about the size of the capital either. Look at the capital, the working capital, the capital employed. 174 versus 68. So ROC hides all of those things. So as much as we can compare, since they are percentages, they kind of hide the absolute numbers from us in terms of the operating profit and the capital. Let me take a mention in this. Oh yeah, the objective is to maximize shareholders' wealth. I was just checking to see if it was there. And what is the relationship between ROCE and shareholders' wealth maximization? None. So even though I use it, it really don't have any relationship to shareholders' wealth maximization. So here's the thing, if you notice how many times we kind of go back to them objective and the mission, yeah. Alright? So that's why one of the things, unless it's a government entity or somewhere like that or a not-for-profit organization, even if he does not tell you that, your assumption should be it's maximization of share. So we can make a comment like that. So if we're going to say if we assume that their objective is the maximization of shareholders, well, then this measure is appropriate, this measure is not appropriate, that kind of thing. Alright? So once you put that in there, as long as the measure have some leaning towards it, whether you do it or not, just write one comment on it and say it good or bad against it. That could be a vital, like sometimes like a half mark, 1 mark here and there, that you probably don't want to give up. Alright? So there are little marks where you can go and get both the place, guys. This is one of them, and give up the one there. Alright? So as I read it, just put a little note beside, let me see if I can say something on this. Alright? Alright. Anything else you want to add on ROCE? Alright, look at the EBITDA and look at what the board member said in the second to last paragraph, that even though it may have some disadvantages, EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization, could have advantages as a performance measure over the existing measure and should also be included in the exercise. It means that having calculated it, don't calculate it and done. You have a right to and say, yes, the board member is correct in that it has these disadvantages. But some of the advantages he or she could be referring to are as follows. Particularly since the board member says it will have some over the current measure being used. Alright? So we need to create a link like that in your answer. Alright? Make your answer clearly, say, yeah, the board member is right to say it has some disadvantages. Okay, if you notice the examiner never tell us what the disadvantages are. So we have to write what the disadvantages are. What him say, it may have some advantages. We then need to come bring up some advantages and show it, say, in some aspects, it is better than ROC. Right? It is not better than ROC in every aspect, but in some aspects, it is better than ROC. Alright? Alright, so let's see if we can do it. Let's start with the calculation first and foremost. Should be very straightforward. Since it's, what is it now, earnings before interest and tax, right? So there's not much things we are add back. So look at what we're adding back. So tell me what you're coming up with now. So we're going to pick up the operating profit, right? Can use as a basis. Because the operating profit, the interest don't come out of it yet. So that's good. Alright, so we can pick up the 9.3 for chicory and the 26 for fennel. But note 2 says the operating profit is after charging depreciation of non-current assets of 18 million in chicory and 25 in fennel. So that means we need to add those back, right? So we need to add back 18 to chicory, 9.3, and 25 to fennels, 26. But there's one other thing we need to add back, that's all. At least in the case of fennel. The write-off of goodwill. Chicory. And see it in them statement there, just before the operating profit. Okay, alright. So we're adding 3 items for chicory and 2 items for fennel. So what figures they get now for EBITDA? 52 and 50. Yep. What does that tell you anyway if you try to compare them? Oh, absolutely. It's just that 1 and 52 and 1 and 51, and tell me it's not nice apart from that.
How did you get 50 NNM? Cheaper, regular.
Alright, so pick up the 9.3 operating profit. Add back the depreciation. And the goodwill.
For cheaper.
For cheaper. Right.
51 for forward, right? No, 52.
52.
And for cheaper, 51 for FedEx.
What are the figures you use for chicory?
9.3, 18, 24.7.
I think in the notes, they had mentioned the write-off was a different figure, 23.7, right? Yeah. So no use the one, they use the one in there.
Oh, what kind of?
Right.
What? Yeah. That's a big mistake in the exam. So everybody needs to get 25 marks.
Don't know why he did that, right? But you use the one on the statement because that's the one that caused the figure to give you the figure that you got, right? So that operating profit is based on the one in the statement, right? All right. So 1 is 52 and 1 is 51. Don't tell me anything.
So what do you call it?
Because again, because here's one of the things we write about EBITDA that says it's a proxy for cash flow. Alright? So all the earnings before
Okay.
that has these non-cash items that are in there, you need to add them back.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright? So the good will have to add back the depreciation, right?
So non-cash items are to be added back.
Are to be added back, yeah. Alright? And that's why one of the very first things you write about EBITDA is the good thing about EBITDA is that it's a proxy for cash flow. It actually shows the cash generated by the business. And that's why we add back the goodwill. Because that's taking out the cash that was actually something generated by the business. Alright? And why is that so good? It's good for chicory because, you know, I mentioned it earlier, them having a little problem, yeah. Them having cash flow problem after a failed acquisition, plus the economy not doing so well. So it's a good thing for them to monitor. Alright? So that is probably one of the strengths that the same director was suggesting. Alright? And ROC don't tell you them kind of thing there. It's an absolute number, so I guess in a way managers can easily understand it. Just them say your cash flow, your generated, your operating cash flow is $52 million. Right? But as far as benchmarking is concerned, it not really serve a purpose. Alright? We could even mention, by the way, guys, the other things that, because I think there's different treatment in terms of how they treat the interest and tax. The tax rates were different, right? So the EBITDA would have leveled the playing field, quote unquote, between themselves and Fennel, getting rid of those distortions, yeah. But the only thing is that it's an absolute number, so it's still not really tell us So it's good that it's doing it before interest, before tax, before depreciation, before amortization. But in the end, it still can't compare. We can't compare the two. I want a 51 and 152. I don't really know what that tells me. Alright? So, to help you gain the mark, one of the things that I want you to actually write is to say, yes, it is a figure before the interest, the tax, and that's nice in the sense that because FNL operates differently and they are benefiting from some of these things, it get rid of that. Alright, so write it, even though we criticize it, write the part that say, yeah, that's a nice thing about it.
So you're saying the advantage is whatever the difference in terms of interest rate.
Right, and how tax treatments.
It's calculated in different countries out there.
The EBITDA get rid of all of that. So that's a nice thing, good thing. Still don't change the fact that it's an absolute number, so it's still hard to compare. Okay, you notice it doesn't truly take into account the size of the businesses and them kind of thing there. So here's a point that I'm going to give you. When it comes to these kind of not really ratios are they? These kind of financial calculations. There's not a ratio, but the ROC is a ratio. Gross profit margin, them kind of thing there. If the examiner is asking you to have discussions around them, part of your discussion must be around the formula. How you get it. So what are the items involved? Right. Yeah. So you kind of look at it, you look at net profit, part of the thing will be the discussion around how you arrive at the net profit. And it's depends on the case. So I can't tell you all the things where you're writing. Look at what the case, what net profit is being used for. Look at what ROC is being used for, etc., etc. Okay, if you notice what we brought into ROC a while ago, we brought in as part of the discussion the size of the profit and the size of the capital employed, the numerator and the denominator of the formula. With the EBITDA, we just brought in the formula. We say get rid of the tax, the interest, the depreciation, and we link it to the case. Always use the formula. Alright? You can, in many instances, you can get 2 points, 3 points, 4 points based on the formula, yeah. So always use a formula. They say when you are writing and say, have I used the formula in anything here? So no. Alright? The formula must come in. And you know, tell them, say the formula you're using, you just talk about the things that in the formula. Alright? So watch out for them. Watch out for ROCE, watch out for the margin stuff, then watch out for the EBITDA, which other ratio we have again now. Alright, yeah, right. ROE as well, return on equity, right? Mention, use the formula to make your mark. Alright. Have anything else? And we have mentioned it for EVA as well too. So we use it, notice we use the formula and the EVA part of it. Carol said, look at the things that are included in there. Alright? We know the WACC is hard to calculate, we do all kind of stuff. So we bring up the formula in your answer. Alright? We can't remember any other one off the top of my head. No. But then the one where you know when I miss, if I miss any of them, just remember the formula and just do it in there. See, quickly say if I remember any of that. I think those are them, right? Oh, and of course, like payables and receivables, we can bring in formula and that too. Right? Because it could be, for example, like you're going to look at in my payables, we look at cost of sales. Right? Yeah, right. So I use the inventory over the cost of sales, right? Yeah. So the payables over the cost of sales, And for the receivables, we're going to use the same receivables over the revenue, right? Yeah, right. So we could very well have discussions around those as well. Alright? But him normally set it up so that the formula gives you marks without you telling him the formula. Just use it. Yeah, just use it. Say, hey, but you know, so this comprises this and this, and there could be some issue around the part here. Alright? Alright. What about now part B? Advise Chicory on the problems. Note they said the problems of using benchmarking exercise with Fennel as a way to improve performance. So I'm interested in no benefits of benchmarking. Problems. Alright?
I think you're not using active life because the structure, their, what's the word?
Business model?
Yes. The business model is not the same. So all the little bit, the election fund, they don't start yet. So it's not this, it's not like
Right.
it's like.
Yeah.
So when I say we're benchmark, it's kind of the same like industry said, we're the best in the industry. But they're not. Right.
Alright, so the first is that business models are different. Yes, Chicory wants to go to Fennel business model, but they haven't done so yet.
No.
Then why you're benchmarking yourself against? Because the things are not the same. It's not like and like. Right. Just before we go on to the operating different countries, something that raised the borrower and raised something else as well. You say you want to learn to improve. We see no evidence from the case that Fennel is best in class.
That's true. That's true.
Alright? And that's how we write it now. You say you want to improve your performances, hence the benchmarking, but we see no evidence that Fennel is best in class.
Yeah.
Then where you going to learn from somebody? I always tell the people that joke here now, and the good thing now is that my brother is now a PhD, he's a doctor, he's a lecturer at Georgia Southern University. When he was going at high school, I can't remember his which grade, and they didn't get an overall score, and they get poor marks by nearly everything. He actually left high school without no CXC, right? He got very poor marks, and his grade average was like 40 something, 40 little bit. And he came home with it and gave it to our parents, and he said, before he looked on that, I came third in my class.
Third.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm third in my class.
Exactly.
Now the guy who came first and I failed to him.
Yeah.
But he's asking us to ignore the 40 something.
He came first of the world.
I'm third. What's the problem? Why not get upset for I'm third in the class? Right? And that's how he presented the thing. Luckily in data bright, because we just said we don't want in data tell it that, but in data that's bright, so. Right? And in tongue teacher now, at tongue lecturer at somewhere. In left camp, I don't know subject at all. Late bloomer indeed, yeah. Because when we finally finish, when we're going to decide to do UA, so I'm going to do back 16 and then do UA. He did so well, he got a scholarship to go FIU.
So where did he go was it?
Huh?
So where did he go was it?
Oh, indeed, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Because he did get one hard job at IBM. And him like IBM, him like the job there, and I'm saying him can't employ it because he don't even have math and English. Right? So he gonna get it. And I said, well, you gotta take it. If you don't have the degree, no. Yeah. And as soon as I finish FIU, them offer him a job. So I'm saying that to him, if I have to look at a job, them say, we want you to come teach at our university. And so, I never believe that somebody will fail high school. Right. So it's the same thing with us. So whenever I read a question, I always remember, brother. So if you benchmark yourself against Fennel, suppose Fennel are one poor performer. Yeah, you benchmark yourself and see that we're doing well. And we're going to learn from the poor performer. Right? And then you can now bring in other things like it's different country. Right. Because look at what it mentioned is happening in Fennel country. They're wealthier, people are driving more electric cars. Chicory country don't reach there, so yeah. Yeah. And a first, yeah. So why you are... That make no sense. And of course the government help them over there. The government help them over Fennel country. The government help you.
So it's not like it, right?
Yeah. And so the way they raise their funds and their investment and so forth is different in a Fennel country. You can't raise it so in a Chicory country. So you have to wait things can right. Trust me, another part here. You have to go probably tell yourself the top right.
Mm-hmm.
9 marks, some of the points.
There are 3 points.
Because they're going to give us related to the case, I think on average he was looking to something like 3 points or something like that.
Also because they have to explain answer.
Yeah, so explain. So it's not a one line kind of thing you write for the answer. Yeah. Okay, you're gonna write and explain it. And also get it like the implications, because they can't raise, for example, I mentioned the fact that they can't raise funding the same way. So they can't grow the same way. And if you can't grow the way they grew, then why are you trying to learn from them? Right? I'll look on the one here too. I'm not sure, I'm not hearing about it says. Was there anything we observed from the data itself in appendix 1? Yeah, you know, somebody said it's a one in 2015.
Oh, I got confused for a while, you know, because I thought...
a misprint?
No, I thought that the bottom was 15. Was something, you know, so bottom... I was like, oh, it's been for years.
Yeah, and it's because the examiner did that to see if I pick it up. One of the criticisms we have of benchmarking is that it might be an outdated solution. Right. And that's the point he wanted to make.
Because as you said, but that is because suppose Fennel only wanted to share those school data.
It still no matter, it's still outdated data you're using. Yeah.
So 3 hours and 15.
Can look on here, where you give me December 2015. What does that have to do with now? When oil price get changed, Trump get elected to become president, this a person now blow up this a place here. Look at things changed since then. So not tell about 2015. Things were probably nice in 2015 as a different situation than 2017. So they probably don't want people to know. Right? Them spend their money on IT system, and it could have given something that shows us, for example, that the IT system has led to your performance improvements and that kind of thing. Fennel has decided to not reveal it. Alright, so sometimes though, the clues to the answers are actually in the data. We don't even do the calculation or anything, but it's there. Right? And as some persons have commented, persons come to the exam and say, yeah, they may look on it, but they never really, never really click. But I think if I bring up this one, along with some others, because some others are also targeted based on the case. But the examiner would allow if you bring up that one here. Okay, when I say alright, that means you have to pay attention. Alright. Questions? Are there any other points in it that we have not covered that anybody else want to raise? Okay, I might have one where we missed some about the place, so can be the bright spot. Yeah, I think I've covered all the ones that I wanted to cover. And again, take a look at it, guys. He might use the knowledge and he might set the case through the knowledge. He's looking to see if you really understand the stuff and therefore you can pick it up from the case. Alright? So it's not about just again reciting stuff from the book or whatever. It's really what I call a synthesis. Alright? Looking at the case, looking at the knowledge and coming up with new ideas. Alright? Alright. Alright, no question. I'm going to see if we can quickly go through this one here so I can send them on the way. So we're going to read that one here together. The requirements are on page 6. Assess whether NJN's existing warehouse information system WIS is effective in reducing waste and adding value in NJN's workflow. Suppose you read that, right? In the exam. Anything when I come to your head? Eh? Value chain, what else? Alright, nothing else no come? No come? Which one? Just in time. Anything else? Alright. I'm going to come back to it in a little while and we're going to see if we read further down it. 3 E's. Alright. 5 S's.
No, I mean, I think, what is it called?
Lean systems. So that's what I was going to say now. Let me see if I read down to the other things and see if it prompts anything in your head. B part said advise whether the 3 proposals suggested by the management consultant will help to eliminate the different types of waste identified under lean principles. Sounds like a familiar now? Because lean principles what we used to talk about waste. Yeah. Value chain is the whole idea about it is waste. But it's really more creating value rather than waste. Alright? Yeah, it's about creating value rather than so the main theme for it is not waste, even though waste could be covered by it too. But the main thing is creating value. Lean system now is about waste. Yeah. Alright? And part C says evaluate whether the application of each of the 5 S's following the warehouse reorganization at NJN is adequately measured by the performance metrics in Appendix 1. Now it's the 5 S's there and some students say, no, but I do that one, I can't remember what the 5 S's are. Alright?
What year is it?
What was this one again? June 2017. What's that? Chicory was September 27. Alright. But look at this one. It says evaluate whether the application of each of the 5 S's, and I'm not going to mention the 5 S's for a particular reason. Some of you probably see it already because if you look, turn around, then give it the 5 S's. So they better try to remember that. So just in case you start panicking and say, "Me nah do that," you might give it a 5 because it's not about recalling the 5 S's. Thank you. So in the 5 S's, you might say, "I'm giving you the 5 S's. Can you apply them?" Right? There was a question I asked about value chain, and I give people the value chain. You might draw the diagram with it. The thing is, can you use it? Right? So it's not about where you swat. The thing is, can you apply it? Alright? The first part though, assess the number, the A, assess whether NJN's existing warehouse information system is effective in reducing waste and adding value. They're saying, take a look at the existing system. Alright? Find fault with it. That's why we really tell you, because I tell us that in the case, them have some issues. Which really I will tell us that the current system not working. So you're going to look at the issues, you're going to look at the consequences of the issues, and in many instances you may very well have to make suggestions around. Alright? But you're going to look at it, it means, when you ask you something like this, it means, you might tell about the existing system, is it reducing the waste? Chances are the answer is no. That's why we're going to lean. Alright? Which means that the system is not working as efficiently and effectively as it should. Alright? And of course, on the bottom, we give us some, and we're just going to come back to those, the appendix 1, the performance measures, and etc. So we'll see how all of that fits in. Alright, so let's look at the case now. Nelson, Jody, and Nigel, NJN, operates a warehouse and distribution center, storing and distributing 5,000 product lines on behalf of its client, and oversees sports equipment manufacturer. NJN receives goods in shipping containers, which should include a packing list of the items they contain. Sometimes the packing lists are lost in transit, and the manufacturers ask for duplicates. Packing lists are manually inputted into NJN's warehouse information system in batches, usually within 48 hours of the goods being received. That's the end of that sentence. So imagine, pick up something there, because you start saying, you have a system and they put things in and things come in a big container, who the hell are going to say money put in there? So you start to say, waste. So here's a problem with their WIS system. It's a manual. Alright? And I think that's where we see the 48 hours, right? We take 48 hours. So it's not up to date at all. And remember, the manual system is subject to error, right? Alright? These something you have things on them, you just run one scanner over the whole thing and then boom, it upload in your system and them kind of thing there. Right? Goods are first unpacked into a sorting area and later moved to wherever there is available warehouse space once the packing list has been input. The WIS records the location within the warehouse where each item is located. The client's customers who are retail stores place orders by email and do not currently have access to real-time inventory levels in NJN's warehouse. See, tell you the problem there now. For the minute I tell you, said, they don't currently have access to it is a problem. Alright? That is a problem. Each morning, picking lists are printed in the warehouse office. These lists show the quantities of items to be picked and the items' 12-digit product codes. I'm supposed to just ring off a alarm bell. What do you mean 12-digit product code? Who ever remember 12-digit product code? Or you go through the place and look for 12-digit. If you go try to match 12 digits. Not even the last 4, 12 digits. Alright? The picking lists are printed in the warehouse office. Not while the people them on the floor who do the picking. What that suggests is a potential bottleneck. Because people have to wait at the warehouse office for the things to be printed. Alright, so that's the third paragraph. Third, yeah. It's a short first paragraph. Yeah. So third paragraph, first sentence. Staff use these codes to retrieve items from the warehouse locations for dispatch to retailers. In 8% of picking lists, at least one item is not in the location or does not have the quantity specified by the system. So the system has clear garbage in there. Yeah. Yeah. So the wrong code them enter, you know, so they swear say you have XYZ when you have XYZ. Right? As a result, the item is not dispatched or the wrong item is picked. A small team investigates these discrepancies using special reports which the warehouse manager extracts from the WIS. That's another bottleneck. Anything you see where the users have to wait, the users of reports have to wait on somebody else to generate the report, wrong. Alright? Business process re-engineering says the users of a report must generate the report themselves. That's why I was suggesting it, by the way, because of EPR. Alright? They mustn't be sitting and wait on somebody. What more me busy? Yeah, mama, someone printed for you. You sit on the idle. One of the ways that lean system talk about is underutilized staff or idle time. Waste. Alright? So the small team investigate the errors using special reports that the team manually reconciles quantities of missing items in the warehouse to the sports equipment manufacturer's own records of the items which should be in inventory. If missing items cannot be found, the customer is informed via an email that they are unavailable. Alright? You can imagine the impact it's having on customer service and that kind of thing. And the time it takes, yeah. And the customer probably want the goods so he can get and do the same. And email is certainly not the best option, right? You probably want something. Yeah, you could have called, or maybe, I guess, if it comes back to the same access thing.
Yeah.
Electronic data interchange, have them connected, EDI.
Where you then just can access your system and order
Right,
what.
yeah.
What is it?
Electronic data interchange, EDI. Alright? And it's actually mentioned in the answer as well.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can use, so the exam was given a suggestion to say what they should be using is something like EDI, electronic data interchange. Alright? But once you say situation like that, like suppliers and big customers, and an ordinary customer like me,
Yeah.
right? It's big customers, yeah, they do something there, yeah. That's what you do.
Is that the same thing that Amazon uses, like it shows whatever is available? Is that the same way
Amazon
Amazon
their
does?
system that is.
Yeah, Amazon system is fantastic.
It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. And you know a lot of the stuff that is sold there, not even Amazon sell them.
Yeah.
Amazon is selling for a third party. Yeah. So they have they must use Amazon as a marketplace. And because Amazon's system is there, now Amazon now connects to their system so that when supply is out, then we know. And you need no manual. Reason why Amazon is so fantastic is because you need very few manual intervention. Right? Amazon had people who actually manually packed the stuff there. So when these things came to them, nobody printed a list. They had a thing on their arm that told them what product to go pick up where and what were the quantities. And it timed them. The people used to complain to Amazon I work them like slave. Because them have to meet timelines. And so everyone said, if it weird, don't say better run, go down and get it before the thing said. So a lot, yeah, and so Amazon sent on some of them and then complain. And there was a big documentary about it. Because Amazon not paying enough money. Right, so what Amazon say, alright, you know what? Human beings are complaining, may I get robots. So that's what Amazon is building and using.
It doesn't pay bad enough, sir, but because of the
Of the
timing
timing
thing,
too, yeah.
your pay
It's tied to it, right? Yeah,
and
yeah.
you are easily let go if
Right.
you do not pay the tax.
If you don't
So
pay.
it pays very
Right.
well, but it's to achieve.
Right. And I
You
understand.
worth your money.
Yeah, and I understand and it affects the supervisors too.
Oh,
The working part. So if you
Yeah.
long shot, you don't really get it.
oh,
Yeah.
but then
And they're easy to
so
find.
I turn off
Yeah. Yeah. And the supervisors are affected too, you know, because you're responsible for your team performance. Yeah. So you can't just sit down as a supervisor and say, Lord, I want lazy woman that, I want lazy man that. You better work as a supervisor too. Right? So they are building now robots and they're using the RFID thing, the radio frequency ID, and the robots can pick up the thing. And when I say robots and a human looking robots, you know, it's just, it almost look like, you know, the little rhombus cleaner, like a round thing there, right? But it has legs that can go up when it's ready. It runs along the floor. There are some things on the floor, and because the things are always sending out signal, you know where to go to pick them up. So you can swiftly go down there. If it's a higher shelf, it can just raise itself up, let the arm come out, pick up the thing, put it on it, and it don't complain.
It's on CNBC. It's on CNBC or what?
Yeah, right.
YouTube.
Yeah.
That is there.
Yeah. They haven't, of course, perfected it yet. So them still have work by human people. But Amazon can get rid of human people. See them all talk about them use drones to deliver things. Hey, Amazon never get rid of pure human. And no human in that is it.
Sorry, that could work at Jamaica.
Not initially.
No. Remember the Jetsons. Delivery of packages.
Yeah.
Drones.
Yeah. But Amazon, the guy always like technology. Yeah, Jeff Bezos, yeah.
I think he's the greatest, one of the greatest men ever lived.
He's dead or
No,
still living.
still living,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'm always amazed at him because person say when he talks, it's like people just believe him.
Oh, okay.
Them say him can be a horrible person. You know?
He's an horrible.
And it's like you can't turn them kind of position there, I guess, without having that horrible side. Yeah. But can I say he's a horrible person, but he has gone to his shareholders year after year from
And give them
no dividends. The company now make no profit, and yet they all will not sell the shares.
Why?
Because him sell them the dream.
You don't understand.
Yeah, him sell them the
Oh,
dream.
people there. Okay.
Amazon did not make a profit until after 10 years, and when it made a profit, it was a little bit of money. So it not really classify as profit.
But the share is $1,800 per share. And last year it was $1,000 little bit. So imagine if you bought one share.
Exactly.
You would have gained $600 US
Right.
in 1 year.
And that's what him keep telling them, said don't
You
sell
don't
the
get
shares.
dividend, but you
Your
get
share.
Right. You're gonna get a lot of capital appreciation. Him tell them, say, well, take over the world. Don't you want to be one of the persons in charge of the world? Yeah. And they don't challenge you. Everybody
He's
just
50 something, yeah. He's about 50 something.
yeah, I want to figure something.
Can't just get divorced or what?
Yeah.
No, he doesn't have a scandal. He are a couple billion dollars, $50 billion.
Yeah, so give her that. And I understand she deserved it anyway because she was also one of the main. It's not even that she was housewife and I entertained. She did suggest ideas for run the place. So them said she didn't run Amazon as much as he was running it. Yeah.
It was a good divorce.
So it was a good divorce, and them said, yeah, she get half of the money, and they never have no problem with each other. Yeah. But they never had animosity with each other, them say. And I think them say them are still work at the place again, they just won't be going to the same house.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Somebody here get $50 million, you know,
Yeah. Ballhead. No, in total,
you know him.
you probably see him.
You see
Yeah.
$1 million or what?
Yeah, you probably see the face, yeah. Bezos. Z-O-S.
Jeff Bezos.
Him not look at a particular way, you know. They say, oh, he's so suave. No, but he have money. And obviously have brains and
He was on the worst dresses for him.
yeah.
Worst dresses.
Yeah, kind of energetic, yeah.
I think it's about 5 or 10 years ago he started buying good suit to her.
That's the music cheese pizza.
No, not
He
cheap.
not does
And
this.
it's not been Amazon, so you can't have a package in 2 days.
What I mean, what do you normally see? Like,
If you kind of look at the poor people them dress no post foot, you know. Yeah.
Warren Buffett, the same Warren Buffett is what, second richest man?
He live in a same house.
That he lived in 1960.
Mm-hmm.
And that he's
Where-
Warren Buffett.
White in the word, white shirt and jeans.
The second richest man in the
He's
world.
the second or who is first? Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. Bill Gates was somewhere up there too or something like that. But all that Warren Buffett does is that he invests in stocks. He have a company that buys stocks and invests in it. And at the time when he was coming, he said, you shouldn't have any tech stock because him say he want to buy stocks that he understand, in companies that he understands. Of course, in company now hire young people them with them kind of stuff, right? He never finished college. Well, for sure he never finished college, but I think he stopped at high school. He finished at high school. He never went to college. His children never went to college. I saw an interview with one of them and he said, well, if my father never went to college, we thought it would have been a betrayal if we went to college. He left money for them. He has given away a lot of the money, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. But of course, he left money for them. Them are big people now too, you know. Right?
No, sir. It's only 1% of his thing they're getting.
Yeah. But him said that that's enough for them to live. Yeah. They're not for live now. Exorbitant life out there then. And they said they're comfortable. But I never said them as for the camera.
They're comfortable. So
But more than that, they're comfortable.
1% of 100 billion.
When I take 0.0001%. So you know, if you give me 1%.
So somebody can just sit down and
Trust-
talk for somebody.
Trust me that if you have the time, it's interesting to just, when you go on YouTube, to just
Listen to them
help
story.
out these companies because it helps in your performance. It give you ideas of how company run, for
Right.
your performance management.
Right.
Exam.
Right, yeah.
And if you want to become
Yeah.
managers,
Right.
good managers,
Right.
we have a lot of bad ones.
Yeah. And this is what Jeff Bezos will tell you if you read about him is that it was always about shareholder wealth maximization. Every single action went there. And that's why the shareholders believed him. So when persons see Amazon are growing and take over this and take over that and people are trying to get the shares, it's hard to convince the shareholders to. And that's why the share price, because everybody, you have to raise the price high to get people to sell the shares. And I'm assuming some people want to sell the shares because, boy, they're in a one desperate. Or else they probably want to sell it. Because people refuse to sell them shares. Yeah, I wish me the day have even one.
Mommy dear,
Jeez, how this? Me can't even buy it now.
I don't want to ask him how much he has, but I don't know what he would say. But
Mhm.
if he has 10,
Mhm.
I think he said he made like $10,000 in a year.
US dollar.
Yes. But again, benchmarking, he live with him mother and then no kids. So your benchmarking coming at two different
Right.
two different organizations.
So it's like you not really have nothing to use for your money.
You have no responsibility. You don't have less. You have a haircut and that's it for the rest of the whole month.
Yeah. So
One brown shoes, one black shoes.
some say we kind of Richmond have some Amazon thing. I remember when Amazon started, you know, but it doesn't never occur to me to buy none of that.
Sorry, Marita miss you.
Right? Because I retire now and up on the French Riviera somewhere, you know. I want to have there on a Sunday.
I get you for class. Well, better be selfish. I'm glad I never buy
If you didn't die, you would be here with us.
You're going to need them chairs. You don't need to be fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Go away.
Mhm. The guy that I'm sure I have the Mega Mart guy. He must say, he said, I may not finish high school, but me have one of the university people and whatever work for me. That's what I said to them one time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I don't understand how some people are just supposed to study entrepreneurship or
No,
That's a new thing.
Yeah, it's a thing now. But if you look at most of the successful entrepreneurs, they did not go to school. Yeah.
I would say that a lot of them is networking. Networking, that's a part of networking.
They have connections and whatever. Yeah.
And you know the right people.
And you know the right
When you
right.
needed an investor, you had somebody
there.
A lot of them are not good managers.
Right.
So a lot of them treat them people like them treat people up. So I wouldn't say it can't study.
It's just a different culture because, as I said, when I was going to school, your parents tell you, study, get a job.
Yeah.
And you know so you have to work for somebody and get a good job. These young people don't have that.
Yeah.
Mr. As soon as they come, they're not even in a school, they're in a high school.
Where are we now? This 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph reads our Sports equipment manufacturer has a service level agreement for NJN covering the accuracy of picking and proportion of customers' orders successfully fulfilled. NJN's performance on these has deteriorated, which is a concern, especially when there is increased seasonal demand for certain products. At these times, staff are under increased pressure to pick items quickly, and so picking accuracy deteriorates and absenteeism increases. So you see the problem there. The people that are under stress, they don't stop come work, which now means there's more errors likely to happen for the ones who remain. Yeah. There's also been accidents, not which can't be good either, where goods have not been safely placed or safely picked from warehouse locations at busy times. These accidents have resulted in minor injuries to some employees. The sports equipment manufacturer has threatened to end NJN's contract if performance does not improve. In response, NJN has recruited more staff to investigate discrepancies between items physically in warehouse locations and those shown on the WIS at busy periods. Just a quick note on that. We think that hiring staff to fix a problem is a waste. We think hiring staff to fix a problem that you should have prevented from happening in the first place is a waste. So part of our what I'd mentioned in terms of the class notes, in terms of the cost of quality, prevention cost,
that.
we prefer it to appraisal cost.
Okay.
It's a waste of resources.
Okay.
Because what value are they bringing? None. But they are bringing cost. Alright? It has also begun a series of cyclical inventory counts, which is the same thing again, where every product line is counted every month to correct the quantities and locations thrown on the WIS. Imagine if you were getting that right from day one. You wouldn't have them have to do so much inventory counting. Alright? NJN has rented an additional, look at this part too, has rented an additional nearby warehouse in which to sort incoming items before they are put away. Here's how the people have money. So the money which should be going to the shareholders, they are wasted on things. Extra inventory space. One of the wastes according to lean system is excess inventory. Alright? That's what they're heading towards. There is no value in excess inventory. Alright? NJN has hired a consultant, probably should do that from before you go do the extra storage and whatever, who is quote unquote an expert in lean principles and the applications of these to management information systems. She believes that WIS is wasteful, not adding value to the business or to its customers, and has suggested that NJN would benefit from the application of lean principles to the system. So this is our proposal. 1, that NJN reorganize the warehouse by storing high volume items close to the dispatch area. That makes sense. And what will happen is that there will be less movement overall. One of the waste, according to lean system, is movement of staff. Another one has to do with motion, or I call it the layout of the place. Alright? So them have about 7 or 8 types of waste. Alright? 2, shut down the additional warehouse. Makes sense too. Right? Why you want? Additional warehouse means that's a more further place them have to walk and blah 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 blah. It has layout issues because that's a different warehouse, blah blah blah. And plus you have pay rent and all kind of that thing. So get rid of it. And 3, discontinue the cyclical inventory counts. Can't disagree with that one either. Because it not really add no value, it's waste again. Alright? To help with the adoption of lean principles in the warehouse reorganization, the management consultant recommends NJN apply the 5S of lean principles. And she has suggested performance metrics which can be used to evaluate NJN's progress towards adopting these. That's in Appendix 1. And see the 5S is there, structurize, which simply means bring order to the thing, to make things easy to find. Alright? So always write it as kind of easy to find. Right? Systemize. Arrange things so that you can get easy access and more efficient access. Alright? Sorry, not use, rather, not access, use. Systemize, right. So that you should have a system that is, in essence, easy to use. Right? The access one is the sanitize, make it easy to access. So that would be like the tidying up of the place. So clutter not in your way, remove clutter. Standardize. Find the best way to do things and apply it consistently. In other words, make it easy to adopt. And it is which one it is? It's a self-discipline. It can also sometimes the S is sustain. Alright? Motivate the employees.
That's self-discipline.
That's a self-discipline, yeah. Alright? So motivate the employees, make things easy to sustain. In other words, look at your reward systems and those kind of things that are going to motivate persons to always do it the right way. Alright? Alright, look at the first one. Assess whether NJN's existing information system is effective in reducing waste. And this was what, worth 10 marks? Bring in the manual input. Alright? The system not helping to reduce waste there so at all. Alright? The manual input is time consuming and prone to error. Alright? It makes the database out of date. 48 hours to get access to the information and all that kind of things. So it's never going to be in sync. Right? Yeah. Alright? And we know that you can write in here your suggestion as well about using RFID. The system scan, pick it up, put it in there, nobody need for something. RFID, radio frequency identification. So that every system is, every product sends out a signal. I was looking at this one of the RFID on it. This is a barcode.
Barcode. Oh.
Right. Some of them used to have the little plastic, a kind of thickish thing, white thing that the paste over it. Yeah. Yeah, that have that have RFID there. Yeah, radio frequency identification. Yeah. All right. And then, Sir mentioned the manual input, the time delays. What about them 12-digit code there? It too long. Yeah, and that means that a whole heap of error got.
Well, you can come back to it, sir, but if you're going back down the paragraph, remember the package in one area and move it to another.
Yeah.
I mean, just to finish off that paragraph.
That part, right, yeah. Alright? But that 12-digit code, I need to revisit that. Right? They need to find a simpler system to get person. Because you see, remember, that human beings that still do the picking, you know?
In the assessment, we should make suggestions.
You should make suggestions, yeah. So one of the things we always suggest is that wherever possible, you make suggestions. Alright? When you criticize something, make a suggestion. Alright? Now your suggestion should be very closely related to the criticism, so it's not like you have to really justify the suggestion. This is different from when he specifically asks you to make suggestion. You have a defending suggestion. You might look for your defense. When you have criticized something and then say, oh, you know what, you should be using RFID, you don't really have to defend the RFID. Because you already listed the problem. Right, yeah. Right. So it's two different things. Make suggestions, even when you ask enough of it. When it don't specifically ask you to make any. Of course, if it does put in there, say no suggestions are required, then follow the instructions I went on. Right? But you might never do that. I don't want to say never do it, I try to remember. I remember. Right? But in those cases, since he did not say do a recommendation, do a suggestion, then don't justify it. Alright? It should be related to the issues that you identify so we can easily follow from it. When him say make recommendations now, you have got to justify it. Alright? Or else you won't get the full marks. Alright? So if you notice, so we have been kind of making suggestions as we go along. Alright? And as we said, the 12-digit code, maybe them can use a product description plus some product code or whatever the thing. So people kind of know what they want to look for.
So where would barcode come on?
Barcode could come under the same thing like maybe the RFID. The only problem with using barcode versus say RFID is that barcode requires the scanner to actually pass over it.
Okay.
So it kind of involves a little bit of manual stuff as well. RFID don't. RFIDs are sending out the signal. So as long as it's in the area and you have your Wi-Fi thing, we can pick it up.
We did at the hospital.
Right, yeah. Right, yeah. So that's the power of RFID over barcode. So RFID don't necessarily need anybody at all.
So it would be a big company, like here in Jamaica, it would be like a Grace or something.
What I do them, so yeah. Because it requires a money too. I remember you have to have your networking all over in the building, so that it can pick up the signal, right? Barcode now. That's why when you go to the supermarket, the cashier have to make sure she run the barcode over the scanner. She can't pass it like this because it not pick it up. So she have to make sure say the barcode runs right.
How to improve on the waste is to have self-checkout.
Right, yeah. And that's what, some places that do that. Walmart does that. Yeah. But try it one time and boy.
The line behind me get longer.
I mean, I said, it not do the thing.
And the white people were not amused.
And me was so afraid. Because I say, next thing I think I thief the product. I mean, I get locked up in a Walmart to take out one gallon of cooking oil. Because it wouldn't scan the cooking oil.
Yes.
And then me show me the thing and say, we must move it slow. I mean, I do all that sitting there, just whoop. And then the girl, like, I finally decided she'd take me out of my misery. She said, would you like some assistance? And I say, yes. Yeah, so she came over and she just does it. So I wonder what on earth I was doing wrong.
You remind me of when the TV day just came with the smart
Yes, yes.
Couldn't
They couldn't
slide.
schedule this way. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
When the smart one
Yeah.
just came in, they could not get the thing to
And
slide.
and so because of that one time only Archie used to go to this right.
Yeah,
To the
yeah.
smart board because
And
nobody
then
else
only
couldn't.
one would
Yeah, oh,
be-
he
the
was
ones
only
to
know.
like
Yeah.
say,
Some
Yeah.
of them was just going to, they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
dragging it
it-
far enough, so it was just not moving.
So only Archie used to do it, and then I noticed that other persons like Janela, Kachana, whatever, right? But that was him used to do it. Nobody else could manage it. So we say I'm not training people that we do this, right? So yeah, so we're looking at that. So talk about the 12-digit code. Talk about the time delays, 48 hours outdated stuff. Talk about the manual input in terms of the incorrectness of that manual input, and it'll probably lead to all stuff like them pick up the wrong things and all that kind of thing, or you know where the things are and those kind. So give us those kind of examples in there. All right. And then advise whether the 3 proposals suggested by the management consultant will help to eliminate the different types of waste identified on the lean systems. What do you think? It sounds like it would do it, right? Yeah, but yes, we did kind of go through and we talk about it. Yeah, we did. Right? Because if you keep the high volume stuff, then, yeah, because those are the ones that you keep going for, and once you see have them at the back of the place and kind of thing, they look how much movement that is. Keep them in the front. Right? There was also a suggestion you could also make there. She said, why she said keep the high volume, you probably could also look at, say, keeping the bulky things them there. Because again, it's less movement and less stress. Then you keep the bulky items somewhere else and whatever. So either one, but we're okay with
Ones that persons order frequently.
right. Mhm.
you have
So nothing. I don't think anything wrong with that number one, that idea. Shut down the additional warehouse, yeah, because no value now come of it. You don't need to sort out on yourself, right? And discontinue the cyclical inventory counts. And again, one of the reasons why we're saying no is that again, we're trying to correct a problem after it has occurred, which we should do is stop the problem from occurring.
okay, so that's
Right.
what you're saying.
That's why we say stop it. Alright?
Okay.
Alright?
So
And we
not
know
after, it's prevention.
it's prevent.
So when you're reconcile, you shouldn't need to reconcile
You shouldn't need to
if you were right
reconcile.
in the first
If you're right in the first
okay.
place. And you notice how we look at old time people, they say them thing that they never know such lean system, they know, because they didn't even come up yet when old time people say prevention better than.
Cure.
Yeah. Your grandmother and great grandmother never know what's in lean system, so when they come to class, come and learn.
What you need to do is propose and
Yeah, you need to come up with a lean system.
Those people are the girls.
Right?
And that is why you're going to pass your subject. Like, you need those people. And when you become those people, somebody might sit down at the class and write over
Eh,
and say,
and
those
I chat
people,
about
and
her,
she
you know.
know, and she never
Yeah, she never got to talk about it. And boy. And she was talking her ways. Alright, look at this one now. Evaluate whether the application of each of the 5 S's following the warehouse reorganization at NJN is adequately measured by the performance metrics in Appendix 1. So what we're going to do with this one, guys, that we're going to look in Appendix 1, and we're going to take each of the S in turn, say a little thing like what I said each one is, and then tell us if any of the metrics there cover that S. Yeah. So for example, if we look at structurize, we're going to look at structurize and we're going to say, bring order to the thing, make things easy to find. Does any of the metric sounds like it connected to structurize? Now look at number 1, warehouse manager's daily assessment of the tidiness of the warehouse on a scale of 1 to 10. Number 2, the proportion of inventory not stored in order of its alphabetical description, with products with names beginning with A nearest to the dispatch area and Z furthest away. So look at what structurized is. Easy to find. Does that sound like you're making things easy to find? If you organize them, yes, you're making them easy to find.
Sorry, what was one? Sorry. It's what? Sanitary.
So structurized is where we're upon.
Oh,
So we're starting we're doing the S's.
For each of them.
So for each of the S, so you're right, call it say 5 sentences, 1 sentence each, because it could be about 2 sentences each.
Okay.
Right? You're going to take each S one at a time and then look if any of the 3 metrics match up to that S.
Okay.
Alright? So if you look at number 2, so we're doing structurized, look at number 2. Structurized says, make things easy to find.
Okay.
Look at what number 2 says.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we want to organize things in a particular way. So number 2 looked like it could have worked with structurized. But being strategic management accountants, we still have to look if there's any weaknesses with that measure.
How can the A to Z, organize it like that? Because
It's the lady did talk about say you must put the high volume things at the front, and now you're telling me to go from A to Z.
Yes.
Oh, that mesh up with the high volume thing. So there's a clash there. Alright? And look at other things at A to Z. Suppose the item is a cricket ball. Where would I find cricket ball?
And a cricket or ball.
Yes, so that's so easy to find because I just come in and I'm there looking for the thing. I don't know where you put it on. Did you put it on a C or did you put it on a B? Right? So that can be trouble as well. So we're gonna say, we're gonna say the one that look like it measure and structurized is item 2. Because it calls for the things to be ordered from A to Z. So that should make things easy to find. However, it conflicts with the consultant's recommendation of organizing the high volume things near the entrance. And thirdly, it may lead to confusion because persons may not know where to place certain items. Alright? So that's how we're going to do it for all of the 5. As well as I may find things where really there's nothing that measure one of them. They said none of them in a measure. There's no measurement for it. Alright? So we're okay with structurized? Let's look at systemized now. Make the system easy to use. That's what it means. So allow for accurate picking in the shortest possible time. Does anything there sound like it could have been measuring systemized? Yeah, maybe 2 to a little extent in the sense that if you organize it like that. Yeah. Easy to use. And in the case of NJN now, what we're saying is that should be allowed for accurate picking in the shortest possible time. So it really does sound as if we could be mentioning 2 there. Alright, but again it has still come back to to what we had said before, right? that the high volume items, which part of them are there and whatever. So there's a close relation there between the structurized, therefore, and the systemized there. So
Would you refer to accident caused by goods being incorrectly stored or picked?
what's that?
Number 3.
Uh-huh.
The number of accidents caused by goods being incorrectly stored or picked.
That look like it should be under sanitize. Alright?
Sanitize.
Yeah.
Right.
So sanitize say keep the place tidy and avoid clutter, which would allow for easy and safe access. And in that case, that's number 3. Alright? Standardize.
So you don't have anything to come to say about that?
The number of accidents caused by goods being incorrectly stored or picked. Here's one thing we could add. Would assume that they want to keep the place accident free. So they should probably have a target there of 0.
Yeah.
That's what we're writing.
So I can measure.
Yeah. So that could be a measure, and then your target for it would be 0.
Number of accident cases.
Yeah. Because remember, any accident case that cause you money,
They can be liable.
and you can
Accident free.
right. So you want accident free, right? All right, standardize. Come up with the best way of doing things and apply it consistently. And it's because you're doing this consistently that's what would make it easy for persons to adapt. All right?
Sanitize what?
Find the best way of doing any process and apply it consistently.
So, sir, hold on. For sanitize, what about number 1?
Warehouse manager's daily assessment of the time. Oh, that could go in there too. Yeah, that could go in there. What's our problem with that one though?
Warehouse start the time. He has to assess it. Yes, I can.
You're right, yeah. But something else?
And
It's judgment.
yeah, subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very subjective.
Because if you don't like it, or you don't like something, your ear is
Right.
going to be judged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody else who has to do the assessment in his stead may not come up with the same number. And what if his remuneration is somehow tied to it? Then he might say it always clean. Right?
You open a closet and see.
Or my nose, hey people, I'm coming around. And everybody's, and him say, I'm just looking, and I'm just keeping head straight, place look tidy, go out in business. And then you can't care about the things again.
You know something, sir? Performance management is a unicorn. It's just not achievable. Too much.
Yeah, man, it does. So it requires work out there in the real world to get it
Yes.
done. Yeah.
It's a unicorn. Because once you fit something in, something else is going to go on. Yeah, because you give this man the task to keep the place tidy. Alright, just like you watching the people in the bathroom or whatever.
Right.
You remember how you would never be like that? You
I
didn't
never
do
wanted
it.
to do it.
And suppose they're tied to your renewal. So you
Then,
can imagine
then
how
I would
they're
have right
bathroom
say everybody
police.
go bathroom and come back in time.
Exactly.
Cause 90% of the time I never see when you get up.
So basically it comes down to measuring the right thing. Because that was just a wrong measure.
That was just
in
a
the
wrong
first
measure in the
place.
first place, yeah.
But how do you measure the right thing?
That's a challenge. So them say that's where you're gonna earn your money. Because if you can come up with it, that will really benefit your organization.
But who says it? The same board and CEO. Who
No, but you are prove it, because you have said this is related to what you want to achieve. Right? And then when you put the team now, you said, look at how your performance start to improve. It's because of what I
But
told
sir,
you.
they don't listen.
Convince them. So that's part of your challenge, you know, right? You know, so we said, don't just tell the CEO, say, oh, my book said. Tell them, say, the way I do now, wrong. Why is it wrong? Because that. What I'm suggesting would fix that because it will now cover this, your customer complaints, it will measure that and get rid of it, that, and so we go.
So what about this see you when you say that you make you and your life a living hell come back over.
When you want?
When you say these things,
Uh-huh.
and I just to him or escalate it.
Right.
When it's de-escalate, when it's coming back down to you, your life is a living hell.
But hopefully them should be paying you good money for the living hell.
Peace of mind.
You know, you can't pay for that. That's not a price.
So you can get your right you can buy your medication and you can pay for your shrink and everything there. Right? Yeah. And when you need a vacation, just blow off the steam.
Exactly.
Alright.
Best
Right, so we said, yeah, so for sanitize here we can use number 1 there. Because that is the tidiness, right? Yeah, avoid clutter and whatever. Standardize, where do they say now? What did we say for standardize? Did we say anything for standardize?
Standardizing for,
Best way of
what the 8 is there. Oh, that's not the same as
that's not
No, right. That's not the best way. We don't already criticize and say it's not the best way anyway. Right.
So
3.
if you can't structuralize it or systemize it, you should not be able to standardize it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, because, in that
Because you
case,
can't
right.
standardize
That's
a bad thing.
a bad thing, right.
You
Yeah.
shouldn't standardize.
You shouldn't standardize. Yeah, that's better to say it that way. Like, I know of many management that have standardized bad things. Right? Yeah, what can we go for? Which one there with standardized, right? Could we really use number 1? The kind of the tidiness.
You say the
Standardized.
Oh, is number 1 is no, number 1 is sanitize.
Yes.
Standardize.
What do you put in standardize?
Because it's a find the best way to do it and keep doing it. And so you have to measure how well people are doing this. Right? So in a way, I guess that's why part number 2 kind of come in there. It's just that this is not the best way. Right. So you could have write that it look like when to count the number of times that the things are organized properly or whatever. Yeah, but this is not organized properly. The A to Z is not the best way to organize it. So it kind of look like standardized is not truly measured by any of the 3 that is there. Right, it didn't really so, yeah, it didn't really look so. Right? Maybe point, you were saying 3, Jody, huh?
But I
Cause,
was
yeah,
saying that if they put the stuff in the card, please.
If you keep doing things the right way, the number of accidents should
Yeah.
probably, in a way, in a little stretch, you could have probably done a number 3, but I think it truly properly measures it. But could have squeezed in number 3 there. Self-discipline. What is that one? Motivating the employees. No, I don't really think any other 3 measure the motivation at all. I say nothing in there so that measure. That I can say, that I can say. And one of the things that motivation is so subjective. What motivates you may not motivate me and that kind of thing there. I'm going to say anything that really links, I'm going to even argue for motivation in any way. I'm going to say nothing. So I'm going to say no motivation. That the 3, motivation is not covered by the 3. Alright? And that's what you do. That's what we're expected to do. Alright?